Welcome to the next presentation today. So how to get your business socially acquainted. My name is George Hawwa. I'm the founder and growth director at Attention Experts. So today's workshop's mainly around brand value and how do we build brand value through great social media campaigns. So should quickly go through our agenda. So the first thing I'll be talking about today is social media trends. Second thing, and probably the most important part of today's workshop, is social media marketing formula for success. So, how do you work within a framework to create a great social media campaign that not only will build your brand value, but also increase return on investment for your business? Then how to build brand value through social media. So how do we actually build brand value? And I'll be talking about what brand value actually is, and then how to encourage and build engagement. So I hope that sounds good to you, and let's kick off. So a little bit about me and why I'm here today. So how did I get involved in social media? So I actually started in investment banking. I used to be a currency trader, and I helped a mate of mine launch a fashion label in the US in 2010. That fashion label ended up being worn by Usher, the performer, and we got on Instagram, and Instagram was just taken over by Facebook. And at that time, we realized the power of social media, because within 2 weeks, we were in celebrities' studios, we're at their houses, giving them gear. So basically, I ended up starting a social media led business here in Australia. Came back to Australia, sold out of that fashion label, and started a business called Amaze Tea Co., which was the world's first workout tea. In 2014, within 2 years, we turned that into a business that was turning over $275,000 a month, and we had 300,000 followers, and we were selling into 30 countries. And that was purely through social media. So I've got a mathematics and finance background, and I found out that data leads content, not the other way around. And one of the biggest misconceptions that businesses have with social media is that content is king. And it's actually a big fallacy, because content doesn't actually lead to success. You can have the prettiest picture in the world, but if Facebook is not distributing your content, it's worth nothing. So what I found was that my mathematics background, the data analysis that I was doing, was actually leading to a return on investment for us as a campaign. So I'm currently, so from that journey, I started my own agency in 2016 after being bought out and being approached by businesses. So I'm currently the growth director and founder of Attention Experts, I've mentioned before. I'm also lecturing at Sydney University on social media strategy and so on. And there's some snippets on our agency. We're Yahoo Finance's top 10 agencies to watch in 2020. We're also finalists in the Australian Marketing Institute Awards. I won Young Entrepreneur of the Year in 2018. We're a Facebook marketing partner. So you're in good hands for today's workshop, and I'm going to give you a little snippet on brand value at the moment. And remember, when you see this formula I'm about to present to you, brand value is only one snapshot of what it takes to actually create return on investment for yourself. So the outcome of today is to understand how to build brand value for your business through social, so it can become socially acquainted. So some quick trends at the moment within social media. Facebook, we're at 16 million active users in Australia at the moment, as of August 2020. Instagram, we're at 9 million active users. LinkedIn, we're at 5.5 million active users. Now, they're the top three that we usually deal with at a business level with a lot of companies. And they're usually the platforms that we build a lot of brand value with. So building brand value leads to a lot more return on investment. So a lot of people ask me about TikTok. They ask me about Snapchat. And you can see there at the bottom of the screen, you can see TikTok is number 15 in ranking, Pinterest, which is a very engaged with channel, number 17, and Snapchat's there at number 6. But something that's quite interesting is that from a business level, we really need to look at the demographic that's involved on Facebook or Snapchat or TikTok. The disposable income in this country is sitting at 25 years and above, right? So we don't want to deal with platforms where there is no disposable income. In your Snapchats, where the average age group is 16 to 23, or TikTok, where it's 12 to 18. We want to be involved in those more mature platforms where they've got more disposable income and have an ability to make decisions. Worldwide and globally, Facebook absolutely dominates, and LinkedIn has a great presence as well. When I talk about Facebook, I'm also talking about Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram are the same company, just in case you didn't know that, and as well as the Facebook Messenger platform, which is the #1 used app in the world at the moment. Another really interesting statistic that will help us with our brand value build is that desktop posts get more time than mobile. So you absolutely have to optimize your campaigns in format for mobile. Mobile is showing at about 1.7 seconds per post every time someone sees a mobile post on average. But when we see desktop, we see a longer time spent on posts. And the reason for that is that we see more people spending time on desktop at a conversion stage of their campaign. So, your mobile is really your top of funnel, or that attraction format where we're able to get people to find out about your brand. And then when people are actually converting or turning into leads for your business, they're usually converting on a desktop or mobile. We usually see a 50% crossover from mobile to desktop. So it's quite interesting. That leads me into the next slide, which is our social media marketing formula. Now, if you forget everything I say today, this is probably the most important thing that I'll be talking about today, and how to get your business more socially acquainted. So the social media marketing formula is really a successful action we apply at Attention Experts with every campaign to debug campaigns and see how we can build the brand value or engagement, or ultimately the sales leads and inquiries. So what we know is that if we increase brand value, this will naturally lead to more engagement for a brand. Now, a lot of people say to me, I'd like to build brand awareness, George. But brand awareness, anyone can be aware of your brand, right? It's very easy to become aware of a brand, but will they have value? Will they perceive your brand as valuable, right? So what is brand value? Brand value is a real thing that we're actually trying to attract and build upon our audiences. So what is that? So basically, it's a perceived value of the audience with your brand. How do we build it? We build it with two different stories. One is the customer to business journey, and the second story is the business to customer journey. So the first story, the customer to business journey, really is that journey of the customer to your business and telling that in detail. So for example, if you're a hotel, for example, what's that journey look like when they walk through the front door, they go to the front lobby, they then go to their room, then they use the amenities in the hotel. They might use some of the features around the hotel as well. So what does that all look like? What does that journey actually look like? You can also show the journey of when they actually book with the hotel, right? What's that experience like, and what's it like after you've left as well? So if you're a real estate agency, right, what's that journey look like when someone discovers you, they bring you in for a market appraisal? What's that actual method look like, that consultation? Then when they actually use you for the listing of their home, what does that look like? What's the process involved in that? And then post-sale, what happens after the success of the sale, right? So no matter what business you are, you really want to show that journey in detail. If you're e-commerce, it could be done the same way. Someone finds you out online, they find out your product, they deep dive into your website, find what products they like, when that gets shipped, how long does that shipping take, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully you got the point by now. So basically you want to tell that story as aesthetically as possible, okay? Now the second journey you want to talk about, a lot of people leave this journey out, is the business to customer journey. Okay, a lot of people always talk about, or a lot of businesses talk about their customer to business journey. What's the customer going to do with their business, promotions, all that sort of thing. But they leave out the business to customer journey. What goes on behind the scenes to make it a success or to deliver that product or service to the end user. So that really needs to be told just as much as the customer to business journey. You see some of the biggest brands in the world, they do that very successfully. Like for example, you've got Apple, which is the biggest company in the world right now. They tell their business customer journey in their history. They talk about two guys that started in a garage in Southern California in the late 70s. They then, wanted to build the world's biggest personal computer company. Then they did that. The founder of the company got fired. He came back in 2008. He then launched the world's first personal music device that was all within files. Then he launched an iPhone, and it became the world's biggest company. And their customer to business journey is you can walk into any Apple store, you can get your phone or your device service within the Genius Bar at the store, or you can, talk to anyone, and the service is great, the products look great, the product look and the smell and all that sort of thing is part of that customer to business journey. So really telling that in detail has been part of their success. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a multinational or a small business, you can also do that. We've done it with a lot of small businesses at Attention Experts, where it could be just a corner store or a cafe where we tell those two stories. So the business to customer journey is the back office. It's showing the team, showing the experience, showing that in detail. What does it take to deliver that service? If you're in the middle of, changing the way you do things because of COVID at the moment, you want to show that. You want to show why you've done that and the effort that you've gone into to make sure your products or services are still being delivered the same way people would have expected pre-COVID. So telling those two journeys is what increases brand value. You want to tell those two journeys over and over again as consistently as possible. You tell that in your organic content as well as your paid material. Now, that naturally leads to more engagement in your brand. When we see more engagement in your brand, this is really the most important point of the funnel, because everyone that engages with your brand, we need to collect them into a database. So everyone on social media has a unique user ID of about 11 digits. We need to be able to collect those user IDs into a database, which we can on Facebook, right? This is why Facebook is the most powerful platform in the world for marketing for businesses. So we can collect those user IDs into a database and cultivate them with touch points. I won't spend too much time on this point today. I usually leave this for my ROI workshops, but we want to cultivate those touch points to around 25 touch points. What we know is when we get to around 25 touch points, the audience is warm enough with the business that it naturally leads to more sales, leads and inquiries for the business. Now that whole cycle takes about 6 to 9 months to build. So this workshop is more so around how to build brand value. So I'll stick to the top of that marketing formula. So how do we build brand value? And I mentioned this before, you want to tell a great story. You want to tell the business to customer to business journey. It's really talking about that story consistently and aesthetically. We know you need to be posting at least 5 to 7 times a week on average. You want to work with 90-day communication cycles. So an overarching topic that you use for 90 days at a time. You don't want to go to the market and confuse them with many messages, talking about how you do this and you do that and you do this and you do that. You just want to go with one story for 90 days that you consistently talk about for that 90 days. Every post is not going to be the same, right? But you want to align with that story, that overarching topic. Same with your emails, same with your paid content. It all needs to be aligned and streaming in the right direction, the same direction, right? That way you can create consistent touch points with your audiences. And that is the key, touch points, right? If we go to market and we talk about many different things at once, your market's only going to get touch points with 1 or 2 aspects of your business. You really want to get them acquainted with one aspect of your business 90 days at a time, okay? And don't think for a second that you're posting 5 to 7 posts a week. They're going to see you 5 to 7 posts a week. On average, someone will probably see you once or twice a week at that rate. So, as I mentioned, increase brand value is telling the business to customer journey and that customer business journey and doing it over and over and over again, right? So if you're doing paid ads, so daily paid ads, and you're doing organic posts at around 5 to 7 posts a week, you're going to be seen on average around 5 times a month by your audience. Okay, so keep that in mind. You want to be posting at least 5 to 7 times a week, and you want to be doing paid advertising daily. Right? You don't want to be doing it as boosted posts or as projects or things that are sporadic. You need to be doing it daily on a daily budget. So get yourself a monthly budget, divide it by the amount of days in the month, and then use that up every day. So a great case study for this is Airbnb. So Airbnb, basically, they had a really hard time in promoting their business when they first launched. Now, no one really knows the founder of Airbnb, their history and so on. I mean, you can find all that out online. You can just go to Wikipedia and find all that out. But that's not part of their story. That's not part of their business to customer journey, right? What Airbnb had as a challenge is they had this industry that already existed for thousands of years where you can buy or rent a hotel room and stay in it, a warm, safe place, in your own bed, and it's within a building that's quite secure. You don't stay in a stranger's home, and a stranger's not letting you into their home. There's none of those issues with the hotels industry, right? So Airbnb had a bit of a obstacle to go over when it was trying to push this service to the market. So what they used to build their brand value, remember brand value is the first point of that formula we need to build, is they told their customer to business to customer journey, in the vendor to customer to vendor journey over and over again. So for example, Michael stays at Matt's place, right? Matt, sees that Michael's a good guy, he makes him spaghetti bolognese that night, and Michael has a great time, and then Michael leaves a great review for Matt. Tessa stays at Jonathan's place. Jonathan's not there, but Tessa arrives, she sees that it's left the same way that Jonathan advertised his apartment to be, and when she stayed and left, Jonathan found that, she left it exactly how she found it, right? There's, Judith that stays with Byron and Lisa. So Judith stays at Byron and Lisa's place. Byron and Lisa are there. Judith stays in the spare room. They find her very, very nice to deal with. She finds Byron and Lisa very hospitable, and there's a great success story there. So telling those third-party vendor to customer, customer to vendor journeys over and over again leads to more brand value for Airbnb, which then leads to more engagement for them, right? Now, for me personally, it took many touch points with Airbnb before I started to use them, okay? But it's quite interesting that when I did use them, after many years of just seeing them around and people telling me about them, that I'll use them again. So I become a lifetime value customer. So I'll be able to become part of their lifetime conversion in terms of value. So it is really important to understand that those two journeys are super, super important when trying to build your brand value. So how do we build engagement? So what is engagement? Now, a lot of people think engagement is just likes, comments, and shares on social media. And that is actually the worst type of engagement in terms of value. Without sounding so dramatic, it is actually the least valued form of engagement from a social media marketing strategy viewpoint. The most valued forms of engagement are things like video views, link clicks, post views, and so on. Visits to website, profile visits, those types of engagements. Why are they so valued? Because I've never seen a sale come from someone following a page. I've only seen a sale come from someone clicking on a link, going to a website and then converting, or going to a lead form and converting. So they're the most valuable forms of engagement that we can get. Likes, comments, and shares are good. They're nice. They make it look good. Followers are nice to get. But if we were to do a paid strategy, I would not advise chasing that. You want to chase your link clicks, you want to chase your video views, you want to chase your more covert forms of engagement. And Facebook actually puts more value on those forms of engagement. There's something called hang time in Facebook. So basically what that is when you're scrolling down the newsfeed and a post appears on your screen, Facebook will time how long you're actually looking at that post. And it will give that business points for how long people are looking at their posts for. And those points equate to something called a page score for that business. And then that then leads to cheaper ads for that business and higher quality audiences for them. I won't go too much into that today, but that is something to keep in mind. But basically, engagement is the currency of social media. It's the basis of everything we measure in social media. It is so important to understand and to track and measure, because this is how social media platforms survive. And you really need to know the mechanics of these platforms in order to do well on them. You can't just put posts up on a page and expect customers to flood in. You need to know how the mechanics work in order for it to work in your advantage. So to say that again, engagement is the currency of social media. So if you can get a lot of that covert engagement I was talking about and that hang time I was talking about, then you're going to get a lot more support from places like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. They're going to make your ads cheaper. They're going to give you more organic reach. They're going to make it easier for you to get conversions. They really use engagement as a measure to whether a post or an article or a piece of content is relevant or not to their audiences, okay? And that will really play as a judgment call on your business within that platform. And in order for social media networks to make money, they need people to be engaged, right? That's what they sell to advertisers, is the level of engagement on the platform. You can have a whole bunch of people on the platform not engaged. It's not worth much to advertisers. So what creates engagement today on social media? Well, there's 3 points that create engagement. You've got controversy or inspiration. They're the same point. Controversy is really the negative, not mainstream point, or inspiration is the positive, not mainstream point. So as a business, I'm guessing a lot of you don't want to be controversial, although it does work for a lot of businesses and a lot of politicians as well. But if you're trying to take the inspirational angle, which is the non-mainstream positive angle for your content, it does really well. You want to really show that positive aspect of your business that you could be doing different to everyone else. For example, an environmental practice that your business is putting in place, or something to do around the way you're doing things during COVID or so on. You also want to make sure that you're relevant in your content and your advertising. What do I mean by that? Well, you need to be really on top of the news cycle and how much your content and your ads are actually relevant for today. And with today's news cycle being so volatile, you see that news cycle changes every 2 weeks at the moment. So you can't be putting posts up or advertising that alludes to things that were happening back in July, right? Today you've really got that second wave of COVID finishing in Australia. You can't put posts going, oh, the second wave is about to start. Like, you can't do that. I actually saw that the other day for a business. So you really want to make sure that you're relevant to your audiences. If you're a financial services business, putting out RBA posts on the day and the time that RBA announces it before the rest of the market does is really going to make you more relevant than everyone else. Then people are going to start to come to you for their news source. They're going to really start to see you as their news source in the industry. And the last point of engagement that creates engagement in 2020 is value add. So making sure you're adding value today on social media. And what do I mean by that? It's really thought leadership and giving away everything that you know on social media. So every bit of information that you know, like for example, for me, when I do workshops, I tell people everything I know. Right? I want to be your terminal for social media. I want to be the person you come to for social media advice, and Attention Experts is that place you come to for advice. You should be that person for your industry. You need to give everything away. There's no such thing as IP anymore. I can go on Google and find out anything you do, right? So you need to become that source of information for the market in what you do. You need to be relevant, you need to get there first, and you need to give as much value away as possible. And you need to be inspiring as well. So just quickly, some best practices for posts and how to build engagement. Really, you've got to look at, keeping the copywriting down. What we see a lot of businesses do wrong is they try to make really long-winded copywriting in their posts. Try to make that as small as possible and as brief as possible as well. If you want to make it long, you really need to make sure that it's value add, it's thought leadership. And something we notice that creates a lot of engagement or works well in organic posts is creating a question on that top line of your organic copywriting. So ask a question first, then go into a long copy if you're going to do that. That's what gets the hang time on Facebook, and that's what we're seeing works in terms of that hang time metric going up. Don't use more than 11 hashtags with Instagram, and try to be specific in terms of trying to get more views through your hashtags. A lot of businesses, where they go wrong with hashtags is they try to use brand-focused hashtags. Like if you're a teddy bear company doing teddy bears for life or whatever, if no one's looking up that hashtag, then it's not really relevant, right? So you really just want to use one branded hashtag, and then the rest of the hashtags are ones that people are actually looking for. And they're the ones that are going to be valuable for your business. But don't get hung up on hashtags. Really, at the end of the day, those hashtags aren't the be-all and end-all, okay? Animated GIFs, so another thing that we're seeing is really starting to pop up as something that's really becoming useful. And through Canva and Adobe, you can really create these animated GIFs quite easily these days, and they're quite simple to make. But we're seeing that they're becoming important for more engagement on social media content. And the thing is, and I'll allude to this in other workshops, is that if someone watches your animated GIF for more than 3 seconds or a video for more than 3 seconds, we can actually put them in our database on Facebook, which is super important. As you can see there, some of those animated GIFs in action. So here's a quick snapshot of a great content calendar you can focus on to build your content and the flow of that content calendar. So Monday could be branding promotion, for example. Tuesday could be business benefits. Wednesday could be education. Thursday could be success stories, and you really want to tell success stories at least once a week as a business. Friday could be more branding promotion. Saturday, more education. Sunday could be a feel-good quote. So if you follow that topical content calendar, it's going to make your resource allocation a lot more easier and your ability to create your posts a lot faster. You're not having to think of ideas all the time. You just follow the topics. So here's a quick exercise, and I probably don't have the time to sit here with you and run through this exercise with you, but come up with an idea for 2 posts you can immediately create on social media for your organization. So just think of an idea for 2 posts you can immediately create on social media for your organization. Now, just leave that to the end of today's workshop, but think of that before you go ahead and create. And maybe just send me an email, my contact details at the end of this workshop, around your ideas and what you've come up with. And I can help you with, in terms of collaborating with you and telling you what would work and what wouldn't. So that's all from me. So basically, what I'd love to offer everyone that's watching today is a free social media audit and 15-minute consultation call with my team at Attention Experts. And how you can do that is just go to our website, attentionexperts.com. We've got the booking form up on the front page. Just make a booking within that form, and you'll be acquainted with one of our team that will help you in terms of auditing your profile and auditing your assets on social media. Our social media consulting services start around $245 a month plus GST. That's a special rate for growth gen. That's 1 hour of support on the phone, 5 support emails a month, and access to the latest best practice. We come up with 90-day strategies for your team and your business, and then we help you implement that. Of course, we've got agency services above that, but that's a great place to start if you're a small business and you're wanting to learn more about social media as well. And up on the screen is my contact details. So don't hesitate to reach out, especially around that exercise before. If you've got any questions, please reach out, george@attentionexperts.com, or go to our website, attentionexperts.com, book in that consultation call. It's really valuable. It's not a sales call. It's just really a value add, and we'll see if there's anything that could be a good fit for you. But thanks so much for your time, everyone. I hope you found that valuable, and enjoy the rest of Growth Gen.